Hello grade 12s and welcome to Life Science, and today we're going to do revision, but we're going to do revision on reproduction. Okay, so I know that we've done this, so hopefully this brings back some sparks and it makes you understand it. And remember, the more you understand, the easier it is in the exams later, hey? Understanding is everything. Okay, so here we go. First thing we're going to have a look at, as we always do, is your terminology, right? And I've got a couple of words for you. And let's see. The three that I have for you today is reproduction. Next one, fertilization. And then the last one is gametogenesis. Right. And I'm going to give you 2 minutes to have a look at those. Give me the definitions of the words or the terminologies of these words. Let's see what you can come up with. 2 minutes. Off you go. So let's have a look what you came up with. Right. So here are the answers. Firstly, the biological process by which new individuals or organisms or offspring are produced from their parents. In other words, making of new individuals, right, or organisms from parents. And that is what reproduction is. We're making more of that same thing. Okay, the next one that we had a look at was fertilization. Okay, and fertilization is a process in the reproduction of both plants and animals. Remember, it happens in plants and animals. Okay, where that involves the joining of two gametes. Very important to remember, gametes, the sperm and the ovum. Ovum is the better word for egg, for instance. Remember that, hey? So the ovum, which followed by the joining of their nuclei. So what actually happens is you get the egg and the sperm, for instance, and they come together. The egg and the sperm don't join together. What happens is the sperm gives its nucleus to the egg's nucleus, creating a new organism. Right, so that is fertilization. The minute those nucleus join and become one, it's called fusing. Okay. Next one we got is gametogenesis. Gametogenesis, and it's the process in which cells undergo meiosis, very important for the gametes. Now, gametogenesis is the making of gametes. Genesis is the making of gametes. Okay, so very important, there's a process. You're going to get two processes that we remember. Don't forget them, meiosis and mitosis. Mitosis is making identical daughter cells. Meiosis is making sex cells or gametes. Okay, those are very important. Don't get confused with them. Okay, one has got a T in it, the other one doesn't. So meiosis, mitosis. Okay, Remember, mitosis, identical daughter cells, meiosis, sex cells. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to have a look at, right, is reproduction strategies. Now, this is a very important thing because this is how we start looking at certain things. So there's a wide range of strategies. Okay, first of all, we want to maximize reproduction, okay, success in different environments. So when you maximize the reproduction success in different environments, that is a good strategy. Okay, you want to be able to survive in those specific places in different areas. Okay, next thing you have a look, the method of producing as many offspring as possible that survive to maturity. Okay, the more offspring you have that survive, the better for the species. Okay, and the more that survive, the more you have to do to get that survival rate up is a strategy. Okay, it's a reproductive strategy. For example, do I look after the young for as long as possible so that they can survive for a longer period of time, or do I have a lot more? That's what we're looking at. Okay, or should I say a lot more offspring at a time? Then you've got the next one. Reproductive success is the production of offspring who survive to reproduce themselves. So you know you got a successful reproduction. For example, when you have 10 of your offspring surviving so that they can make offspring again. That's when you had a successful reproductive strategy. If you do not survive, they don't count because the whole point is to produce more and more and more. That's the point of reproduction, or should I say surviving in this case. Okay, so that's a big thing. Reproductive strategies is to have a successful reproduction rate. Offspring must survive till they can produce offspring themselves. Okay, now these are the ones that we're going to have a look at. There's 3 different ones that we've got here. Firstly, we've got ovipary. Ovipary. You've got the 3 things and they show you how certain things happen. Okay, so ovipary, eggs are laid and embryos develop outside the mother's body. Eggs are laid and embryos are produced outside of the mother's body. So here's one. The best one that we all should know is a chicken. Okay, a chicken lays eggs. A bird lays eggs. So what actually happens is they lay an egg and then they keep it warm. The baby or the chick is inside, busy developing. It's not inside the mother anymore. Now it's inside the egg. There's that shell that protects it. Okay, and the minute you've got that shell, the best way, or the way that I used to remember, is the first letter of ovipary. Okay, if you have a look, it's ovipary, the shape of an egg. Ovipary, shape of an egg. The best way I remember it. Okay, now here, fertilization, fertilized eggs supplied with a rich yolk, which provides the embryo with carbohydrates. Remember, carbohydrates give you energy. It's fats and albumin, which supplies protein and water. Albumin gives them the protein because you need the protein to make new cells and all of that, right? Or should I say muscle cells and all of those things, okay? Albumin gives you that. You need water. Remember, body's got a lot of water in it, all your cells, okay? And then, of course, you need carbohydrates for energy and you need fats for energy as well, and it helps build certain cells in the body, okay? So you need all of those things, and that egg gives it to them. That specific egg gives all that stuff to them, okay? An advantage, many eggs can be laid. Okay, if you have a lot of eggs, at least one can survive for a longer period of time. So say, for example, I have 10 eggs and 3 survive. Well, that's good, because if I only had 3, none will survive. Can you understand how they were thinking about this? Egg, you can have a lot of eggs, and the chicken doesn't have to be very big. Okay, it can lay its eggs and it can produce a lot of eggs at a time. That's why we eat eggs. Okay, because it produces very quickly. Next one, the disadvantages. Eggs exported to the danger of predators and the environmental factors. So in other words, once they're out there, anybody can steal it. And that's why they lay so many eggs. Okay, because once mother's looking that way, someone steals an egg this way to eat. It's a good food source. Okay, so that is ovipary. O for an egg. We all got that, outside of the mother's body. Next one we're going to have a look at, try this one out. Ovoviviparous. Ovoviviparous. What a word. Huge. Okay. Does it have an O in it? Okay. There's an O, which means we're going to have an egg. Am I right? Best way to look at it. It has an egg. Let's see what makes this different. Oviparous to ovoviviparous. What is the difference between them? Let's look at this. Young develop from eggs, same as the other one, that are kept inside the mother's body. So what actually happens is you have an egg. The mother has an egg inside the body, but the mother carries it around everywhere it goes. So instead of just laying it in a nest, it's inside the mother's body. So the best way to look at it is ovo is an egg. Viviparous is inside the mother. Okay, ovo, egg, inside mother's body. Okay, now look at all these things. Fertilized eggs supplied with rich yolk, which provides embryo with nourishment. The egg is exactly the same. The two eggs are identical. The mother has the egg, it's produced the egg, and the egg gives the baby all the food, everything it needs. Okay, now there's some cool things about this. This is a nice one. Okay, the embryos develop inside the egg until they are ready to be hatched. Okay, then they hatch inside, so the eggs hatch inside the mother's body, and the young are born alive. Okay, so just think about it. The eggs normally hatch with birds, and then you can see the eggs lying there and the little chicks running around. Okay, the mother had nothing to do with the hatching. When it comes to this, the egg's inside the mother, same thing happens. The egg hatches inside the mother and live young come out. So it looks like it's giving birth to live young. The best thing to remember, or the nicest one I like about this, is there's snakes that do this. Okay, so the red-tailed boa, for instance, it gives birth to live young. It's not actually live young, it is an ovoviviparous snake. Cool. Now, the next one I've got is us itself, okay? If we have a look at it, the next one we have is your viviparous, okay? Now, before I go on to the viviparous, sorry, I've got some more about ovoviviparous things for you. Hatchlings are able to look after themselves as soon as they hatched. So they hatch and they slither away from mom. Okay, next one, the advantage, developing embryos are protected inside the mother's body until they ready to hatch. So they're looked after so no one can steal the eggs. Okay, the disadvantages, if female carries eggs is killed, the young are killed too. So if the mother that's carrying those eggs die, every single egg that's inside her also dies, which is a bit of a problem, do you not think? Okay, where if they were outside and only one gets stolen, well, so be it. But if this mother dies, they all die. Okay, and that is ovoviviparous, the O for egg. Now, if we look at what we are, me and you, okay, we are viviparous. So if we look at vivipary, okay, is there any O? No, so we don't have an egg. Here we go. Fetus develops inside the mother's uterus and is nourished through the umbilical cord. So the egg, remember we talk about the egg and the sperm joining together, okay? That egg is not actually giving nutrients, same as a chicken's egg. What that one's doing is it's getting all its food from the mother. That's why pregnant ladies eat so much, or pregnant animals eat so much, and they eat certain things because they're helping the baby grow. Okay, so there's no shells in that. If we have a look at what happens, the uterus and the placenta protect and nourish the developing embryo. Okay, young are born alive. So it's the same as a snake, but they were inside the shell first. This one, they are always born alive. That's me and you. That's why we were born alive. Okay, and then young are not able to look after themselves immediately after birth. That means we need parents to look after us. And if we have parents to look after us, we have a better chance of surviving. Okay? If, for example, a chick, if they're in an egg and they hatch, there's parents that can look after them in the beginning. There's some that have to look after them for a while. And there's some that come out identical to the mom and dad. We'll talk about those later. Okay, they come out identical and they can start doing everything by themselves. The oviviviparous, they'll come out and the minute they come out, they leave mom alone because mom can kill them. Okay, and then the last one, viviparous, what actually happens? Baby comes out, it's very tender, it cannot look after itself, we need to look after it. Right, and that's why your parents look after you for a long period of time. Right, hopefully that's enough information for a few minutes. Okay, I think you need a break, I need a break, and I'll see you straight afterwards. Cheers. Welcome back. Hope you had a good enough break. Now, it's always good when you come back to start with something huge. So here we go. Let's have a look at this board. Some questions for you. What are ovivivipary, vivipary, or should I say oviparous, vivipary, and ovivivipary? That's the first question. Next one. What is the correct biological term for the following? Yeah, the type of fertilization that takes place outside the female's body. Oh, I've given you stuff that we should remember from last time. Next one, the fusion of sperm and egg that occurs inside the female's body. Okay, and then last one, the type of reproduction where fetus develops inside the uterus and is nourished by an umbilical cord. Those are the two questions. It's two questions. Can you believe it? It's actually five, but it's two questions. Well, four questions. And I want you to give me everything you can, and I'm going to give you 3 minutes for it. Are you ready? Off you go. Okay, let's have a look at your answers. Now, these are the ones I came up with that you guys will definitely have similar to. First one, what are ovipary, vivipary, and ovivivipary. Here they are. Ovipary, eggs are laid and embryos develop outside the mother's body within the egg. It's the first one. Vivipary, fetus develops in the uterus and is nourished by the umbilical cord. And then lastly, oviviviparous is the fetus develops inside the egg within the mother's body. That was the first question. So still in an egg, but inside the mother's body. Let's have a look at the next ones. Next one was, please give the correct biological terms for the following. Okay, what type of fertilization takes place outside of the female's body? External, outside, external, fertilization. That is like, for example, the salmon. The female lay the eggs and the male comes over and puts the sperm on top of the eggs that's outside of the body. Okay, next one. The fusion of sperm and egg that occurs inside the female's body. That's simple. That is just internal, but it's just called fertilization. And then the last one, the type of reproduction where a fetus develops inside the uterus and is nourished by an umbilical cord. Come on, I've already given it to you. It's vivipary. Okay, you guys all got those right. I'm sure you did. That was very easy. Okay, now let's have a look. We did the male and female reproductive organs. So let's see how good you are. Here I've got the male reproductive organs, and there I've got its labels. Okay, I want you to put the right labels at the right place. So let me see if you can get that right. And I'm going to give you 3 minutes to do it. Okay, everything you got, concentrate, make sure you get it right. Are you ready? Off you go. So let's see how you did. Hopefully you get the right answers. When I do this, I always start from the bottom. That's just the way I do it. Okay, firstly, the first one that I can see will be your testes. Okay, then it'll be your epididymis. There it is. Then it'll be your vas deferens. Come on. Don't do that. There we go. We'll get it going. Vas deferens. Okay. Then it'll be your urethra. Okay, urethra's over there. Then after your urethra, you get your seminiferous vesicle. There it is. Then you will get your prostate gland. And then lastly, you get your bladder. So the order that you see now in front of you should be first labeled bladder, then prostate gland, then seminiferous vesicle, the urethra, vas deferens, epididymis, and your testes. I'm sure you got those all right. This was easy. I know you're sitting back and say, this is very easy for me. I know it is. I know you can get these all right. Okay. Some more questions for you. Let's see what you're getting, what you can do here. Next, here we go. What is the function of the following? 2 minutes to do this, eh? 2 minutes, so listen carefully. Testes, vas deferens, and epididymis. There's 3 things I want to know. You've got 2 minutes to give it to me. What are the functions of those 3 things? Are you ready? Off you go. Let's have a look how you did. Now, first one, if a board will move today, okay, we had testes. What is the main function of the testes? Is to produce sperm and testosterone. Very important, the 2 things. One is very important, the other one's not. Very important, the testosterone. Why I say it's not? Because think about it carefully. Testosterone gives you your male secondary characteristics. Sperm is for fertilization to create new offspring. It is very important. But if you don't want an offspring, you don't need the sperm, but you still need the testosterone. Okay, next one. The vas deferens, it carries sperm from the seminiferous vesicle to the prostate gland. And then the last one, your epididymis, it stores sperm. Epididymis stores sperm. It's like a creche. It makes it get nice and big and older so that it can do what it needs to do. Right. Okay. Another one here for you. Let's see how good you are. Name the organ that produces testosterone and give 2 functions of testosterone. I'm giving you 1 minute to do that. Concentrate and let's see if you can get it right. Off you go. Okay, so if we have a look, what is, name the organ that produces testosterone and give two functions of testosterone. It's very easy. Testosterone is made in the testes. And what is the function of it? Testosterone maintains the reproductive organs and is responsible for puberty. So it makes sure that the reproductive organs work properly, and it gives you your male secondary characteristics. Okay, the male secondary characteristics. So for example, a thick jaw, hair on the face, all the stuff that happens at puberty, your pubes, your pubic hair, everything. All of that comes together from male secondary characteristics. Right, it was good answering. Hopefully you got it right. I think you need a break. I definitely do, and I'll see you straight afterwards. Cheers. Welcome back, and of course I'm going to throw you straight in the deep end with a question. Let's have a look what you can get with this one. Question is, semen is made up of secretions and sperm. Identify the glands that produce the secretion and state the functions of the secretion. I'm going to give you 2 minutes to quickly do that. Give me everything you got. Off you go. Okay, let's have a look what those glands are. First one, the secretions are from the following glands. They are the corpus gland, which gives the sperm greater motility. Okay, the seminiferous vesicles, a source of food for the sperm. And then lastly, the prostate gland, which is an alkaline metal, which stops the woman from being too acidic, and it helps with the motility of the sperm. In other words, it gives it energy. Okay, so those are the ones that we're looking at. Now, here we go. Next one I want you to do, and I'm going to give you 2 minutes because I know you can do it quicker than that. We're having a look at the female reproductive systems. And all I want you to do is I want you to put the right labels at the right place. 2 minutes. It's all I want. Are you ready? Off you go. Okay, let's have a look. Now I'm going to change it again. I like changing things. Okay, firstly, we're going to have a look. Number one, I would say right up here is the fallopian tubes. I'm just going to put it a bit lower, the fallopian tubes. Then you've got your ovary, which is that one over there, right? You get your uterus, which is that one inside there, okay? You get your endometrium wall, which is that one there. You get your cervix, which is that one there. And the last one, you get your vagina, which is that one there. I know you guys got that right because this is easy stuff. Okay, now let's have a look at the female reproductive systems, okay? Firstly, we have the menstrual cycle. Do you know what a menstrual cycle is? Of course you do. We've gone through it, okay? It happens every month. That is when we make an egg and we release an egg, okay? Now remember, in life science, we always generalize. Okay, so we say the average is a 28-day cycle. Okay, it's the development and the releasing of eggs. That's what the menstrual cycle is. It's the producing eggs and the releasing eggs. And then lastly, the growth and the removal of the uterine lining if no pregnancy occurs. Okay, so it's the developing, it takes 28 days. It's the making and the getting rid of an egg, and the making of the uterine lining and getting rid of it if the egg is not fertilized. That's what the menstrual cycle is. Now, this is the best picture. They love using this because they've given you everything with it. Try this out. They can go crazy with this, and all of this works together. Okay, so let's have a look at it. First of all, there's the start and the 28th day. You happy with that? What is half of 28? It's day 14, roundabout. Okay, so we normally say certain things happen on certain days. So I am going to bring this down. Let's see if I can bring it. There we go. Okay, and I'm only going to have a look at the top piece. So I'm having a look at this part here. Okay, you need to know the hormone, so make sure. This happens, remember that egg-shaped thing that did this and then it came over? We all know what that is, okay? It's your fallopian tube and your ovary. So this happens inside the ovary, okay? Now, for the ovary to start making an ovum, you need this thing called the Gr12 follicle hormone or the follicle stimulating hormone. Follicle, or F, it's got FSH. Okay, you need FSH, and it makes a follicle. There's a follicle. See that little black thing on the inside? That's what we're trying to make. Okay, so we have this follicle, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. As you can see, as it gets across like this, it starts getting bigger. But this follicle starts producing a hormone called estrogen. And estrogen stops the making of FSH, because what is FSH going to do? It's going to make one of these. And once we've started making one, we don't want to make another. Right, so FSH, we make a follicle, okay? That follicle is called the Gr12 follicle. As it gets bigger, it produces more and more and more estrogen, okay? The minute there's a lot of estrogen, there's too much estrogen, then the body knows, okay, it's time for this thing called ovulation to happen. So in other words, the releasing of the ovum into the fallopian tubes. Okay, now, what makes that happen? What makes it burst? It's very simple. Estrogen levels inside the body is too much, so the body secretes a hormone called LH, or luteinizing hormone. Now that luteinizing hormone, it bursts the Gr12 follicle, okay, and it releases the egg. And once that egg or the ovum is released, this little thing here, the releasing of that egg is called ovulation. It changes, this big piece here changes and becomes the corpus luteum. The corpus luteum keeps producing keeps producing progesterone, and the smaller it becomes, the less it does, right? The smaller it becomes, the less it does. Now, if I have a look at that, let me just rewind here a little bit. There we go. The smaller it becomes, the less progesterone it produces, and each one has a certain thing. Now, I've just showed you how the making and releasing of an egg. let's carry on down. Now we're having a look at these parts. This is the hormones. Look, in the beginning, we have an orange. And what's the orange? The orange, estrogens. Look how estrogen increases. Remember I said as it gets bigger, estrogen increases. Can you remember? Okay. Remember I said to you, the minute estrogen gets too much, what gets produced? Look at this thin line over here, that thin line. Let's follow it. It's luteinizing hormone. Luteinizing hormone shoots up, and what happens with it? It bursts on the 14th day where ovulation takes place. Can you see how that works? Okay, you'll notice there's another line, a small little line over here, and that small little line is follicle stimulating hormone. It rises a bit over there, but what I do want to show you is this dark green line. What happens after the egg is released? Remember I said you get this thing called the corpus luteum, and what does it produce? It produces progesterone. Okay, so the progesterone increases, estrogen increases a little bit, but progesterone increases when it gets to a certain time, it starts decreasing. Look, it's big, and it starts decreasing as it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. Okay, now, what does each thing do? Firstly, we're going to look at follicle stimulating hormone. It's FSH. FSH, what does it do? It stimulates a follicle to be made, the Graafian follicle. Okay. Once the Graafian follicle starts going around, what's next? It makes a estrogen. Estrogen, the more estrogen it does, it stops FSH, and it also starts building the endometrium wall. You know that blood that's inside the uterus, okay, the lining, the endometrium wall. It starts making that endometrium wall. What happens if there's too much estrogen? Okay, it bursts, the Graafian follicle bursts. How does it burst? The luteinizing hormone makes the Graafian follicle burst, and the Graafian follicle releases the ovum and changes its name to the corpus luteum. What does the corpus luteum do? Produces progesterone. What does progesterone do? It stops FSH from being made. Okay, and lastly, it makes that endometrium wall nice and jelly and sticky so that the egg can fit on there and not move. Right, so that is what the menstrual cycle is like. And I'm sure that's very easy for you. Remember, make sure you understand this. Very, very important. Remember, day 1 starts with when the woman starts bleeding. Okay, starts bleeding. Day 18 is the day before the woman starts bleeding. I'm sure you remember that. Okay, now, here's a question for you quickly. I'm going to give you quick questions. What is the female hormone responsible for the production of secondary characteristics during puberty? Okay, where are the eggs produced? What 3 functions of the endometrium? What is the sperm? Where is the sperm deposited in the female's reproductive system? And lastly, where does fertilization occur? I'm going to give you a quick 2 minutes for that. Are you ready? Off you go. let's have a look at these answers that we have. Firstly, what is the hormone that is produced that produces secondary characteristics in females? There is estrogen. Where are the eggs produced? In the ovaries. Next one, name 3 functions of the endometrium. Provides a place for fertilized eggs to embed. Provides protection from the developing fetus. Okay, and lastly, forms part and the protection during pregnancy. Okay, so that's the 3 things it does. Hopefully, that's given you everything we need. I'm sure that was all the question. Oh, yeah, no, there's 2 more. Where is sperm deposited in the female's reproductive system? In the vagina. And then where does fertilization occur? In the fallopian tubes. Hopefully that helped you out. Hopefully you feel more comfortable. And I'm sure we'll see you soon. Until then, cheers.